The election for the United States Senate in 1944 was one of the most important in Arkansas history because it propelled the political career of J. William Fulbright, who became one of the towering figures in Arkansas politics and in national politics. He had been a congressman. He'd been elected to Congress 2 years earlier and served one term from Northwest Arkansas. The Senate seat was up that year was Senator Hattie Caraway, who had been elected in a special election and in a general election in 1932. But by this time, by 1944, she was pretty weak. So she seemed to be a ready target. So Representative Fulbright ran. The governor of Arkansas, Homer Adkins, who'd served 2 terms as governor, was a candidate and obviously would be the favorite. Also, there were several other candidates there, but the most significant was Colonel T.H. Barton, a wealthy man from El Dorado.
Fulbright and his handlers thought that Homer Adkins were going to be the only problem they really had to deal with, and they built their strategy around that. But to their consternation, a wealthy oil man from El Dorado, Colonel T.H. Barton, entered the race. And he decided to emphasize show over substance with virtually unlimited financial resources, hired members of the Grand Ole Opry, including Minnie Pearl and Eddie Arnold, to tour with him and to perform. And in that day and time, entertaining the crowds was a powerful way to campaign. For a period, the Fulbright camp felt threatened. In the end, Barton didn't prove to be a threat. The issues were too powerful, and the spotlight shifted back to the Adkins-Fulbright feud.
Now, Fulbright was not a guy that you ordinarily would associate with political success, because he was elegant and suave and thoughtful and intellectual. All those kind of qualities that you don't associate with success in Arkansas politics, or at least in that era.
Fulbright was like his mother, was a progressive. He believed that society could be improved through logic and learning and better institutions.
He had a peculiar past that made him popular in that election. He had gone off he played football for the University of Arkansas. He'd been a halfback for the Razorbacks. He had gotten an Oxford scholarship and was a Rhodes Scholar. And at the age of, I think maybe 36, he had been appointed president of the University of Arkansas, one of the youngest university presidents in America. And his mother, Roberta Fulbright, owned the newspaper at Fayetteville. She carried a great deal of clout in that part of the state. That was the leading newspaper in Northwest Arkansas. Arkansas at that time had 2 big factions in mid-century. The Bailey faction, Carl Bailey, who had been Attorney General and then was elected governor in 1936, and served 2 terms. And then Bailey had been defeated in 1940 by Governor Adkins. But those were the two controlling factions in Arkansas politics. And Roberta Fulbright had supported the Bailey faction. So when Adkins became governor, one of his first acts was to arrange to have J. William Fulbright fired as the president of the University of Arkansas.
J. William Fulbright got caught in between the factional fighting in Arkansas in the 1930s. He got caught in between the rivalry between Governor Carl Bailey and Homer Adkins.
Homer Atkinson detested the Fulbrights, detested Roberta and Bill particularly, probably because of Bill's educational credentials, his urbaneness.
So Fulbright promptly comes back in 2 years, runs for Congress in 1942, and then in 1944, you have the collision of all of these enemies. Fulbright, who had a personal vendetta against Governor Adkins. You had the Bailey faction, which was supporting J. William Fulbright. You had Hattie Caraway and whatever faction that she still controlled. So it was made for a titanic race. So in the first primary, Fulbright actually led the ticket, to the surprise of a great many. A testament to the clout of the Carl Bailey organization. And Homer Adkins squeezed into the runoff spot, in spite of the fact that he was a sitting governor and very powerful.
Fulbright wins the 1944 election, defeating Homer Adkins. And J. William Fulbright will serve, even though he's, quote, the junior senator, he will serve in the U.S. Senate for the next 30 years.
Fulbright's election in 1944 catapulted him into the national scene. He was a sponsor of the resolution creating the United Nations, and he went on to get elected 5 more times and was finally defeated in 1974 by Governor Dale Bumper. So he was his career was ended by a sitting governor, just as it begun by his defeating a sitting governor.
J. William Fulbright was seen in Arkansas as a figure who one could be proud of. J. William Fulbright earned a notable reputation in international affairs. His name became attached to the well-known Fulbright program.
He forced Arkansas to think of itself in a national and international context. And he was very much a visionary. He believed that the state could be something special. Despite his scholarship credentials and his international and national reputation, he was a dedicated Arkansan. And he did not want to be associated with a state that was self-consciously backward. And so, and what he was saying was, I'm an Arkansan and I'm not going to let you get away with this. You can't get away with this. You've got to be the best you can be. I think that resonated with a lot of people.